Cry podcast, guys. Thanks for being back again. Ruben,
We're
how
back.
you doing, man?
Oh, we're doing. We're doing.
Mental health is on check. This is on point.
It's there.
I don't have my slang in order right yet. On fleek. Nobody's saying that now.
On fleek. That is, what is that?
Can we bring that
8
back,
years
though?
old?
Why can't we bring that back?
You can definitely bring that back.
We can bring that back.
I would.
Thank you for our guests chiming in and giving me some words of encouragement as I need. Milan. What's up, man?
Hey guys, how you doing?
So, immediately right off the bat, Milan I met at the gym. Edge Fitness, y'all got to come check it out. I mean, it's obnoxious, but it's a cool place to be. Ruben, you're Planet Fitness. Sorry, man. Sorry.
Can we talk about the Edge for a second?
We can. Let me just say real quick.
Talk about this.
I'll just say I met Milan at the gym maybe a year ago or so.
2 years ago, back in 2020, so like a year and a half ago.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So he was very nice and complimented literally the boots I'm wearing right now. We started talking about fashion a little bit, started talking about stuff. And then you went off to LA to pursue acting, came back, you talked about some mental health stuff you wanted to talk about, and we've stayed in touch, see each other at the gym and all that. So that was a little brief summary on him. Ruben, what's your gripe about Edge Fitness?
I told you what happened.
It's a real fancy fitness club.
So I went there with you as a guest.
Yes.
So when you go as a guest, you have to give your ID, right? And so I left my ID there. And I was like, I got to go back and pick it up. Mm-hmm. Which honestly, it's actually a really brilliant ploy to get people to come back.
Okay.
Right. But then like the guy was like, oh, so, he started like trying to get me to go there, which is fine. Totally cool. But he's like, oh, so like, where do you go work out at? And I was like, oh, I work out at the Y. He's like, oh, thank goodness. I thought you were going to say Planet Fitness. Oh, and I was like, well, I work out at Planet Fitness sometimes too. I was like, they're open 24 hours. Like, And he's like, oh, okay, da-da-da. And he was like, well, why not here? And I was like, well, honestly, the Y is 3 minutes from my house.
Right,
and like, it's like 2 miles away from my house. Like I could walk there on a good day. And I probably will in the summer. And he was like, oh yeah, but he was like, I could say that about, I don't know, Italy. Like, I don't want to go to Italy because it's so far away. And I just looked at him and I was like, did you just compare the Edge to Italy? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I think we're done. So then we just left.
He ruined any opportunity he had to sell you on that gym membership. But yeah,
I thought it was a funny story.
Different gym for different people. It's a very crowded gym, but it's a cool place to be.
It's very popular gym.
Very popular, got good energy. So I never got to talk to you about your story because I wanted to save it for the podcast. What first gave you the idea to go to LA to pursue acting? Was there a moment where you were like, okay, I want to take this from like a dream to reality?
Well, it's been my dream ever since I started acting back when I was about 11 in the 5th grade. Yeah.
Really?
10. I was in my first play. I was in Annie. I played Rooster, the villain.
Oh, and Annie, that's funny. Was that high school or middle school?
Elementary school.
Elementary school.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, back in 5th grade. And
wow.
Just me doing that actually was me stepping out of my comfort zone as a kid because I was a little shy as a kid, a little bit more timid and everything. Yeah. But they had announcements talking about doing auditions for a play, and I don't know why, but something in me clicked and was like, go out to do it. And even like my stepmom was like, Mom, are you sure you want to do this? Like, you have to like be on stage in front of people and act out and everything. I'm like, yeah, like of course. I did it, fell in love with it. People were applauding me from my character, and so I just fell in love with acting from then. And then also being a Disney kid, seeing Disney Channel and everything, seeing all the kid actors and everything. I wanted to do that. So that was my dream. So it kind of became to this thing like, pretty much all my life, like at least for the past 14 years, I wanted to move to California and everything. And actually, I had met with a manager, a talent manager from out there. He came over to Philly for a talent scout program event that I was in, and he had told me, he was like, I would like to work with you, and everything, but I don't want to take you out of school.
Sure.
I was a freshman at the time. He told me, he gave me some advice. He said, finish school early.
Yeah.
And try to graduate as a junior, and then you can see about moving over there. I didn't, but it was still something. But I didn't hop on the opportunity until my friends from over here.
Yes.
They first moved to it was a couple, Craig and Jen. They first moved to Atlanta back in 2019.
Okay.
So they were out there for a year, and then they said that the next place that they were moving to was going to be California. So that's when I was like, oh, like this is it and everything. Cause
now you've got contacts out there.
Yeah, exactly. I was 26 at the time. I'm like, so life is kind of hitting me. I'm like, yo, I really need to go and pursue my dreams and like what I want to do and stop just talking about it and everything. I've done acting over here and everything. I was like, it's time. So they told me that they were moving out to California, and I just took that as a opportunity, as the perfect opportunity to go ahead for it. So I was like, hey guys, I'm moving with you.
Well, and there's that idea. I feel like I've heard from people who want to be comedians, actors, musicians. It's like, if you really want to do it, there is something about moving to where that community is. Otherwise, it can be a dream that will just never be fulfilled because you're just not where the jobs are, where the community is, and all that. So you took that move, and it helps a lot when you have contacts already out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So what did you do around here?
So I've been in different plays at my church, being the main character, doing local short films, other local plays, a web series once that was aired in 2020.
That's awesome, man. And friends of friends who do like short films, and that's the way to get into
like
it.
basically trying to do whatever I could do in this area, while I'm here.
Right. So you moved out there. That was what year?
Actually, last year I moved into my apartment out there on New Year's last year.
New Year's 2021.
2021. Right. I left. Me and my family went on a road trip out there.
Wow.
And we left 2 days after Christmas.
No way.
And
they took you out there through a road trip and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So when you get there, you get set in your apartment, all that stuff. Did you already have like a gig or an audition or something lined up, or just it was like, oh, let's get a job first or whatever? Like what was?
No. As far as acting, I had nothing.
Right.
I had contacted the talent manager.
Sure.
Who saw me, discovered me when I was 14. I was like, hey, I'm finally moving out here. I'll be in California in January, and he got back to me and said, well, I'm doing classes right now. Right now, we're not active because of COVID. COVID was still very heavy at the time, but he said that we'll be resuming the classes in February, and you can contact my assistant and start taking the classes that I'm doing in February. So I was like, cool. And I was already working at the Cheesecake Factory out here in Delaware at the Christiana Mall.
Oh, so you took a job out there?
Exactly, because with the Cheesecake Factory, as long as you're there for 6 months, you can transfer anywhere in the country. So I contacted the Cheesecake Factory out there close to where I would be living and set it up with them. And, I had that job set up. But it was really crazy though, because since COVID was so, especially out there, it was really rough. Heavy and crazy out there. Yeah. So all of the restaurants were closed out there. As for over here, they were open, but just limited capacity. They were completely closed out there. So when I moved out there in January, I was out of a job for a whole month. I didn't have a job because the Cheesecake Factory wasn't open.
That's
yet.
right. Yeah.
They opened in February, and that's when I started working. Thank God, because I was like, what am I going to do?
Right. Did you already have I guess you already had, I don't know if you had first month rent paid or a support group or whatever. So you were kind of
I already had that.
Then that's smart to do, especially moving out there for that. Mm-hmm. So what did your first class look like, or your first audition?
So the class, the acting class that I was taken from the manager was in Burbank, California. Yeah. So the way that it was, you come in, they have scripts on the table. Yeah. With your name on it. So you pick up a script, it's a monologue. Yeah. No. Actually, it's like a dialogue because you're going to be in front of a camera. Right. Acting out in front of the camera. And the manager's assistant is kind of reading back and forth the lines with you. So you pick up a script, you go over it for maybe 45 minutes, then they start calling people in to come in and do a cold read with the assistant. So you do that. Yeah. Once everyone is done, the talent manager, his name is John Simmons. Yeah. He comes out to where we're at. It's like almost like kind of like a chill lounge area.
Yeah.
So he's sitting there. He pits on everyone's video, video of their code read, tells them, critiques them,
Right.
what they did, and he's very, very like raw,
Honest. I'm sure.
honest, because
super raw. Yeah.
he discovered Chad Michael Murray,
Oh wow.
Nate Parker, and everything. He's discovered and worked with big names in like Hollywood. So he's very like
Wow.
very anal about his work. So he'll chew you apart about even if you're great, he'll chew you about what you did because you know that you're great and everything. Right. That's why you're there. But he'll take about like what you did wrong, but he'll also give you your props or compliments on what you did right. So we do that. We leave, have a week to practice it, come back with the finished, improved version. Yeah. Do it again, and then he'll kind of tell you like how you did again.
And during that whole time, obviously, the first month is already anxiety ridden because you didn't have a job and trying to look forward to the class. You couldn't do the classes and all that. So what was like just sort of your mental health overall that first month and that first class? Because I'm sure I would have been super nervous, anxious.
Yeah, I was definitely nervous and everything, but at that time, when I was out there, I didn't start having problems like with my mental health until the first, I would say 5-6 months as I was out there. So I was confident. My faith was intact. I was very I would say faith oriented. So I was like, okay, God, well, you have me here for a reason and everything. So I just had to take that confidence.
You felt stable and confident in your faith and your position at the time. Yeah.
Going to the class the first time, it was nerve-wracking.
Right.
Because I'm there with, other like actors, not just like, from like, it's like little me from Delaware out in Burbank, Hollywood, California with other actors, most of them are working. Right. Some of them are like brand new to it, and then some are like have done acting like me, but not, industry acting. So
had you struggled at all with any sort of mental health before that? Like for instance, like in high school and college, like I struggled with depression for sure. That was a little bit more, I wouldn't say severe, but definitely affected my quality of life for sure. Went to counseling and that kind of stuff. Did you experience any of that beforehand, whether it was like anxiety or depression or something else?
Honestly, no. Honestly,
really,
I haven't experienced depression. I was a little anxious,
like a normal
anxious. And
anybody
everything.
Would,
I say I don't know if there's a healthy anxious or anxiety, but but nothing very like gripping or but just like normal anxiety. Actually, that I've actually worked over just from building up my confidence and everything. So no, I haven't. I've always been very confident, happy, joyful, and everything.
That's how you always come across for sure. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say. So, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask him, about the move out there. I'm not a big LA guy. Are you a big LA guy?
I love LA. Yeah.
See, I'm an East Coast guy.
No, but I haven't lived
through and through.
East Coast, yeah.
I love the East Coast. Do you consider yourself a West Coast guy? Did you fit in well out there?
I fit in greatly out there.
Really?
Yeah. And it's crazy because even before I moved out there, because I was born and raised in Delaware, for the past years, people would always say to me, like, Milan, like, you belong in California, like you belong somewhere like so like your energy, your spirit, and just how you are is like you just belong in California. I was like, thank you. That's where that's that's the end game plan for me and everything. So I would say I definitely fit in well out there and felt like I was, but I still had from my East Coast, kind of.
Well, your family's here. You have a whole bunch of friends here. You're super well connected here and all that too.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like almost like a chameleon and everything. Definitely fit in out there.
You can adjust.
Exactly. Adjust out there, but even after being out there for 11 months, coming back over here, I kind of adjusted out here, and it's crazy too because you kind of realize how it's kind of different because out there, I will say, people are more chill. More the vibe is more chill, more laid back as opposed to over here. after coming back, I've definitely realized that people have more of an edge to them and everything. This is, it's the East Coast. You got, Philly, New York, Baltimore. You got all these, edgier, places and everything where it's more of an edge. And I definitely realized that because I realized coming back, I was like, dang, well, not that I lost my edge, but I didn't have to kind of like express it, because everyone was, on chill. But coming back, it was like, I had to kind of build up my edge more.
Sure. But so it was 4 or 5 months of doing acting classes, so auditions, I assume.
Yeah. Well, I've done one audition through Backstage.
Oh yeah, okay.
For a sitcom. It was like an audition over Zoom. It was for a sitcom. The producer was from the UK, and they had called me back and had me do the audition for them.
Right.
I didn't get it, but I just thought it was cool that I got to audition for a director from the UK.
Yeah. But experience is good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was the classes. The classes every Tuesday, and my game plan before I was kind of rocked off track was to take a couple more classes and then go to the manager, the guy John Simmons, and ask him, hey, how would you feel about representing me, about
as an agent,
help
me find some gigs,
exactly, as having me be represented as your talent, and everything. But I didn't get to that part because of
Well, can you go into detail about what happened? Yeah, after those few months, what were you started to just feel? What decisions did you feel needed to be made?
Yeah, so back in, I would say, late April, early May, I started having kind of like attack on my health. My health started declining. I just thought that I was like getting sick because I already have a condition.
Okay.
Ulcerative colitis.
Got it.
And I think it's very draining, very, almost like debilitating.
So it affects your just over your mental energy, physical energy.
Yeah, energy. Yeah, exactly. Energy. But at the time I was fine. I was planning on coming back home to visit for the first time for my birthday.
Yeah.
Which was in May.
Okay.
May 11th. And so when I came back home, I was just really going through it with my health. I was visibly very, very skinny. Like,
really?
I was, yeah.
So it was affected you losing weight?
Lost so much weight.
I was like sleeping a lot more, that kind of stuff?
Everything.
Okay.
I wish I was sleeping more, but my condition had me up like all night and everything with ulcerative colitis and gut.
Gotcha.
Basically, you more than regular.
Sure.
Exactly. So I was always up all like every 2 hours having to go. And that draining so much out of me that I didn't even have in me enough to drain had me so just very, very, very skinny and everything. So I went back home. The week that I was home, it was just really bad. I was having really bad hiccups, like burping, and it was weird. And then like on my birthday, it got really bad. I was hiccuping so much that it was nonstop, and you don't really think like the hiccups is that bit much of a problem.
Horrible,
until it's nonstop and you are hiccuping like. Keep going. I'm like, oh, something is wrong, and like it was like driving me insane. So I told my mom because I was actually at my dad's house. We had like a birthday celebration, and they had cooked food for me and everything. I was like, I can't eat. I was like, I have to go to the hospital. Like something is wrong.
Yeah, good for you for doing that. Yeah, smart.
It was just bad.
Yeah,
I tried to hold it out because they were telling me. They were even telling me like you need to go to the hospital. Something is wrong.
Yeah,
like, you're super skinny. You're having all these problems. So I finally went. They did test on me. They had to give me a shot to actually make the hiccuping go away. I felt like I was dying because I was hiccuping so much, and like I couldn't sleep because how do you sleep when you're hiccuping? Dude? So it was really, really bad. And so they did test on me, and then they came and found the test came back that it actually was ulcerative colitis and everything. Because before it was I went to the hospital a year before because I was having problems with always going to the bathroom.
But you weren't sure. It wasn't
Exactly.
official.
They said
that's the thing.
They said it looked like it. I was supposed to go and get a colonoscopy done.
Yep.
For them to really see I was being irresponsible. I didn't. I was like, oh, I can handle it.
And you felt it was manageable enough.
I
you
thought
could still
it was
live
manageable.
your day to day.
Exactly. They actually gave me medicine, but I stopped taking the medicine because I felt like the medicine was affecting me in other ways, like honestly making me sicker. So I was like, oh, they don't know what to talk about. So I stopped taking the medicine. Ended up back in the hospital a year later.
Oh my God.
Yep, it's actually ulcerative colitis. So they put me on prednisone steroids.
Okay.
For it. Oh no. Actually, I ended up in the hospital because I had an inflamed colon.
Sure.
So that's why I was hiccuping so much. That's why I was so sick. Yeah. Because I had an inflamed colon. So that's why they put me on the prednisone steroids to
reduce that. That's weird because I actually a couple years ago I had an issue of like diverticulitis, which was pain in the small or large intestine, which they had to give you I had antibiotics for, but it was painful. But it didn't. Do you think that going to LA and the acting and all that sort of triggered it like a stressor, or no, or it just was probably random?
It was so random. Okay. And it's crazy because I was loving it out there. I was living my best life. I was like, God, I was like, I made it out there.
I didn't realize it.
I was like, you
were actually thriving out there.
I was thriving. Yeah, I was thriving. I was like, this is what I've been waiting for like all my life. And I never thought that I would actually get off my butt to go and do it and actually take the leap and everything, but I actually did. And I was like, I was thanking God. I was like, I'm actually doing it. So when I started, when that hit me and everything, it kind of like it rocked me off.
Sure.
And everything.
Sure.
But the problem was I came back home. I had to find a gynecologist. Not a gynecologist.
Yeah, and a proctologist?
A gastroenterologist. What is a gastroenterologist or something like that?
Yeah.
Someone who works with gastrointestinal issues.
Exactly, gastrointestinal.
I gotta look it up. Yeah.
So I found one out there, and I started going to them. He kept me on. He prescribed me prednisone steroids. Kept me on that to help with my condition because he was like, you're gonna this is a problem for you. And he told me, he was like, your ulcerative colitis was a genetically predisposed condition.
Sure.
So he told me, he was like, so nothing that you could have done started, you could have done anything to start it, and you couldn't have done anything to prevent it.
It came up when it came
exactly.
up. It kind of came up at the worst time, honestly.
Exactly, and it did. It really did.
Yeah.
It was like it was going to happen either now in your 20s or like later on in like your old age or 80s.
Sure.
So I was like, okay. I was like, well, thank God it's not because I drink a lot.
Yeah, true.
I thought that was the problem because I stopped drinking and everything.
Actually, didn't have to do with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, he didn't mention anything of alcohol being the problem.
Yeah.
So he had me on prednisone steroids, and it's funny. It's crazy too because he told me, he was like, I really don't want to put you on this. He was like, this is a nasty drug.
It's powerful stuff.
He was like, it's a nasty drug, but it's the only thing that's available for you at this moment to help you and everything, help you with your condition. And I'm thinking, oh, they probably just ate about everything, like all the drugs that they have to put their patients on. So I didn't think so much of it until it was like a month later and everything, when I just started going through it. I was, I lost all energy. I was drained of all my energy, even more so than the condition doing it. I still had energy to be me and, my energy, but drained of all my energy. It made me develop severe anxiety and depression.
Oh, so that the mental health aspect did actually come in.
Yeah.
Do you think it was because of like being self-conscious about like the way you looked or the way you felt, or you can't do acting?
I wasn't. No. I was still trying to act, but I wasn't self-conscious because I knew that it was happening because of the sickness.
Condition, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like,
out of your control.
Exactly. It's out of my control. I know that I can get back to where I was, so it had nothing to do with that because I was still fine. But I realized after being on the medication for a little while that I started like going downhill, like spiraling.
Oh, so you think the medicine caused
it? Was the medicine that caused it. And it makes and then it made sense why he was telling me why he didn't want to put me on the
it was
drug.
actually going to affect your mental health.
Yeah, like because there's so many side effects where people experience different side effects and everything. I'm pretty sure he didn't know exactly how it was going to affect me, but it ended up affecting like my mental health. It gave me severe anxiety, depression, just drained me of anything. Drained me of like just even the will to live. I didn't even want to live anymore.
Yeah.
And you knew me before, I was like so full of life, so vibrant, know, kind of like after being off the medication now, I got back to it, and that's all how I am now.
The difference.
It was the total opposite.
So we do this thing called a mental health check every week where we rank on a scale of 0 to 10 what your mental health is, like 10 being the best, 0 being like I need help, like I might need to go to a hospital or whatever. Like where would you say your mental health was at that time at the worst point? Like 0, like I want to end my life sort of thing, or 1, 2,
I would say it was probably a 2.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I didn't want to be alive anymore, but I didn't want to end my life.
I'm not going to
I was just in the bed. I was like, God, I'm ready.
But like,
I was like, God, I'm ready.
Like end the suffering, please.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because I became mundane. Like all I did was just go to work to the Cheesecake Factory, which was like 10 minutes down the road from where I lived. I went to work. I did what I had to do. Like
and
even
that's here
at
in
work,
Delaware. That was here in Delaware.
That was 10 minutes away from him in LA.
Oh, in LA.
That was while I was living in California, and I was just like on autopilot. Like, even at work, I was just like, I don't want to be there. What's the point of life? I would go to work. I would come home. I would lay in bed all day, just watch TV. And even that was like, I was like, I don't even want to do this anymore.
But you came back for that week in May, and then you went to the hospital, did all that stuff, and then went back to LA.
And then I went back, and then I was on, and then that's when they
got the steroids,
kept me on the prednisone steroids and everything. I had to take. I had to keep, refilling because I would taper off because you take like maybe 4 for a week, 2 the next week, 3 the next week, 1 the next week, and then like you'll taper off. And each time that I would taper off, I would kind of be fine. I'll kind of be a little bit in a better place.
Yeah.
But my condition, like I started like having pains again.
Yeah.
To the point where my doctor was like, "All right, I'm going to prescribe you another one."
I'm really curious. Being a man of faith, did you ever struggle with the idea of taking a medication to help you instead of sort of relying on God to fix the problem? Did you ever struggle with that, or did it feel like, no, this is just what I do?
Yeah, definitely, because I knew that it was a physical thing.
Yeah,
and so it was like,
and God provides the medicine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I grew up with people in the Christian high school I went with that had a little more of that. Like, well, I'm struggling with depression, but like God will kind of fix it, instead of being like, well, maybe there's a tool that can help you.
So all of that leads to, what is the defining moment to make you move back
to Delaware? Yes,
it was. Everything was going on from, I would say, the end of June, July, all the way up until like September. I had expressed how I felt to my roommates, and I was like, when the lease is up, I'm probably moving back home, because at that point I had to stop acting. I didn't have the energy, so it was like I wasn't. The reason why I was out there, I wasn't even doing that anymore. So I was like, I'm kind of ready to go. And so we had another friend from back here in Delaware. He was looking at jobs out there in California to move. So I kind of came up with the idea. I was like, hey, well, if he's moving out here and everything, he can probably take my place here at the apartment and everything. Kind of like. Take my part of the pay my part of the lease or rent. Like, we'll just switch spots. I'll go back home and he can have like my spot. So they were kind of talking about it. It was almost going to happen, but he ended up choosing another place to live because the other place was closer to his job. Even though he had to pay a little more, it was closer to his job. So, and this was probably the end of the beginning of October. And everything. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm about to move back home because this guy's coming out here to take my place. And then it didn't happen. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna just have to stick it out till February, because that's when our lease was up. This past February, it just passed. But it got to the point where I was like, I really can't do this anymore. Because even in February, I tapered off of the medication, the prenatal steroids that had messed me up so much. I tapered off of it, and like I was off it. But by then, I was so burnt out mentally. You know, I was like, I don't want to be here anymore in California. And it's like, I just want to be home. It was the point where like I gotten like really homesick.
Yeah.
I needed my family. I needed, you know, my friends and everything. It was like, I just didn't care to be in California anymore.
It's weird because it makes me think. So I know it's a little bit of an off topic, but I'm curious to learn about what it's like to move to another place for that long, and at what point do you get homesick? Because I was dating a girl in another country. I would go visit for a few weeks. It would be fine. Didn't feel homesick. But I was always wondering, at what point am I going to start to feel like, I kind of miss my friends and family, you know what I mean? But it was after several months for you. Yeah. It took before you were like...
And it was honestly because of the effects from the medication.
Right. Got it. It wasn't the circumstances.
It wasn't a natural thing.
So if you hadn't had the medical issue, you might even still be out.
I'd be on TV right now.
Interesting.
So do you think... So, I mean, even like coming back, right? Like there's still New York City where you can go and do things. Like, do you ever think about what are your options now that you're back? I mean, there's still places you can go, like locally you can do stuff. Like you just mentioned Atlanta. I mean, that's a hotbed for movie activity. So like, what have you done to still pursue your dream, or have you put that on the shelf for right now, focusing on yourself, and then get to that later?
Exactly. Yeah. I put that on the shelf coming back. Just because I've been through such a traumatic experience in such a short amount of time and stopped. You know, I had taken a break from acting, but I knew that, you know, the break wasn't going to last long, but I didn't know when. Right. And like, even being back, I'm still like, you know, I'm still getting up the energy to get back to acting. So right now it's on the back burner, but I have thought about what I'm going to, or like what I can do. So I definitely thought about New York, but you know, New York actually more so also for modeling, because I wanted to do modeling as well. So like looking at agencies in New York for modeling. I actually had an opportunity to go to Atlanta for to be in a movie that somebody that a writer up that lived in Delaware was doing. He actually contacted me while I was in California about it. That's awesome. And everything. And he was, you know, saying that, you know, he wanted me to be in a movie, and like was going to fly me to Atlanta because that's where they were going to film it. So even when I got back, it was time to do the rehearsals and everything, but I just wasn't there mentally.
And
he sent me the script. Exactly. I couldn't even look at the script. I just wasn't there mentally to, you know, go back to that yet. So I had to tell him, I was like, hey bro, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, you know, after kind of being checked out, like mentally for so long and just getting back, I'm still kind of getting there, getting back to myself, you know, mentally, physically, like energy wise. And right now I just don't have the energy. I don't have the mental energy to really, you know, put the work that I would need to put in.
No, that's important.
Exactly.
I was kind of there too.
It takes a lot.
I was there too, man. And like, at this point in life, I think adulthood doesn't really start until 30.
Okay.
I am a firm believer of that. I didn't really start figuring out my career until 30.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd always been a chef, but I figured out where I can take this. And now I'm like doing more things than ever.
When it's that idea of whatever it is that you want, sometimes your mental state can sort of preclude you from achieving the things that you want. If it's an acting career, or you want to change jobs, or you want to move, or you want to be in a relationship, you might not be ready. And it is important to be able to recognize that, take the time you need for yourself. And Ruben talks about that a lot, and I think that that's super, super important.
And it's very true.
Is that one reason why you take your physical fitness health so seriously, or is it more just for me, I go to the gym because it makes me feel good. I don't have huge lofty goals. Is it that, or more like also I want to look a certain way, or is it a little bit of both?
I go to the gym, makes me feel good, and I want to continue to look good.
Yeah, sure.
And everything.
That's fair.
You know,
especially if you're doing modeling too.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I want to maintain my physical aesthetics.
Yeah, of course.
Not even
of
that I
course.
want to like get big or have gains or anything.
Yeah.
I just want to maintain it
Right.
and everything.
Yeah.
You got to work to maintain it, but it also makes me. And I've realized coming back home, and I was back home for 2 months since November until I started going to the gym in January.
Yeah.
But after going to the gym the past 2-3 months, it's definitely helped me to heal myself, as in like mentally get back to my energy.
Right.
That's awesome.
And everything, because like just being
Some
in there,
routine and
exactly.
good camaraderie,
Exactly.
good people,
The
good energy.
endorphins that it releases and everything.
Yep.
It makes you feel good, gives you more confidence.
100%.
Started gaining my confidence back even more and everything.
Every time Milan comes up to me in the gym, I'm always like, I should do a few more reps. I should do a few more reps. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very motivating, man. So
So I have to ask.
yes.
You were in LA.
Mhm.
Did you have any run-ins with any celebrities or anything?
Oh yeah, good question.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Not really, and I really thought that I would. I mean, I lived in Orange County, which was only 45 minutes, an hour from LA, hour and a half, depending on how crazy LA traffic is. But I was in LA for a couple times, and I met different models or actors that are in the industry, but no one like celebrity status or like famous wise and whatnot. I would say though, at my Cheesecake Factory in Orange County, I did serve his name. He's from.
Was it actor, musician?
It was an actor. He's a comedian. He's a comedian actor. And what's funny is that I didn't even know who the guy was until he had left. And the host was like, "That's the guy." He's a comedian from Half Baked. I want to say.
Oh, not Dave Chappelle or Norm Macdonald or who's the other guy?
His name is like
Bob Saget?
Jim Brewer? Bob Saget was in that?
Yeah.
Oh, was he?
It wasn't
Yeah,
Bob
he said
Saget.
it would,
It's been a little
I
while.
would do something very
Highland
terrible.
Wyland
for
or
Coke.
something.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
You have to
hold
look him
on.
up. Yeah.
One moment, I got.
I look up that word too, gastroenterologist.
Hold on.
That's
You know,
not
it's
important
funny
to me.
because
Okay, I
like,
need
when
the word.
I
was
did
it?
my little
was-
internship in New York City, I ran into a couple of celebrities
That's what I was
out there. I mean, I also worked at a really nice restaurant, so like they would come in to eat.
Yeah.
True. That's the place to be. Really, is the restaurants.
I mean, it is like you go to the nice restaurants. I mean, like even in like Wilmington now, you can find like
Definitely find more people.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Harlan Williams.
Harlan Williams. I have to look. I have to look. him
Yeah,
up.
so like, which is why I didn't really know who
Right.
he was.
Right.
But the hostess like recognized him. She was like, oh yeah, like he's like a famous guy. I was like, really? I was like, I had no idea. I was like, well, he was a decent guy.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
he was a great guest. He complimented me. He said I did a great job, but
It's better. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely know
okay.
that face.
Yeah,
Greg pulled up
yeah.
the face. I definitely know that face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's great.
Yeah.
It's probably better not to know who he is anyway, so you don't feel like any pressure. Or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because
Yeah.
I was just able to be me.
Right.
So, but it came to find out that he was in town because he was doing a show at an improv.
Got it. At the Improv. Yeah, I know the Improv because I listen to
around
LA
the way.
comedians all the time.
Yeah.
So they always talk about the.
He was doing a show there.
So, go ahead.
No, but I was going to say I also saw a guy eating at the restaurant. I wasn't serving him, but he was one of the first male models that they had on for America's Next Top Model when the
really?
Guys and Girls cycle. He was on the first cycle that they did for that. His name was Marvin Cortez.
One of the first contestants on the show.
Exactly.
Oh
yeah,
wow, that's
yeah.
wild. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
And he made it pretty far. He didn't win, but he made it pretty far. But I didn't go up to talk to him or anything, of
Right.
course. But it's so funny because I was just watching him like a year before that.
Delaware's has a few celebs now. I mean, it's kind of crazy.
They do.
You know,
It's adding up. Ryan
Aubrey
Phillippe.
Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza.
She's come into the restaurant I was working at a few times.
Oh, that's right. She came into Dead Presidents too, wasn't
Yeah,
she?
Dead
They're really-
Presidents. Her uncle owns Dead President, so whenever she comes back into town, she's usually
That's
there.
funny.
That's so cool.
One of the guys that came into Eclipse, it's this guy named Neil Casey.
Okay.
And Neil Casey is a comedy writer, and he's a comedy actor. He actually writes for that show Big Mouth.
Oh, really? Oh, I love it.
And
Crazy,
he came
crazy
in to
show.
eat, and I remember telling the server, I'm like, hey, do you mind just telling him, like, I'm a big fan of his work? And so the server was like, hey, chef just want to let you know, like, he's a big fan of your work. And, like, he, like, looked down at his food, and he was like, well, I'm a big fan of his.
I love it.
So
I
it was
love
cool.
it. That's awesome.
It was a cool little interaction.
That's
But Delaware has been getting some recognition.
I was gonna say, you know, what's crazy is that I've actually met more famous people over here, in Delaware, Philly, than I did while I was over there. I met Michael Blackson, which came to my job, the Cheesecake Factory over here. Talked to him. I told him I actually just watched his movie the night before. Told him I was an actor.
That's wild.
Keep going for it. I met Lil Dicky at a club up in Philly.
No way.
Like a week before the song Freaky Friday came out.
That's funny.
I met him the day on Black Friday. It was back in 2017.
If you're in the right spots, man.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah. I was gonna say before we wrap up, I wanted to do another mental health check with kind of where you are now and how you're feeling in this moment, this week, this day. I guess we can go first. It's really cool that you mentioned you were at a 2 or 3 before, because I don't think I've always wanted people to be open and honest with how they felt, but I think I'm kind of dealing with some relationship stuff right now, so I'm actually okay, but I'm probably like maybe a 6 or 7, a little bit of just uncertainty. What about you, Ruben?
I'm probably about a 6 or 7 right now too.
You said work's gotten better, which is good.
Work's gotten better. Had some work issues. Just today in the moment, I feel probably like a 6.
Yeah, just in the moment, how you feel right now. So yeah.
Overall, I'm like a 7.5.
Good.
Just right now, it's a little bit low.
Yeah. So you see, how do you feel like in this moment, Milan?
In this moment, I want to say I am probably a good 8.
Good. Yeah.
Probably a good 8.
Where was last week?
Yeah.
So
good stuff.
So before we go to like our call off, I have some like quick fire questions for you.
Do it.
Are you ready?
All right.
You ready for this?
I think I am. I don't know. This might bring me to this.
You ready?
Short answer?
And this has to be like quick.
It's making me a little nervous.
All right. Favorite actor?
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
There you go.
Favorite movie?
Salt with Angelina Jolie.
Oh, Salt.
Excuse my language. Badass. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's badass.
Salt. That's your favorite movie ever.
I want to say, she plays such a tough.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Have you guys seen it?
I have not seen it. But I know what movie you're talking about.
She plays
movie that made you think I want to do that.
Oh gosh.
Just a movie, any movie that made you.
Wanted.
Wanted with the curvy boy
with James McAvoy.
James McAvoy. Yeah. That was it. I love action movies. If you can
great
tell.
Great one.
All right, and last question for the quick fire.
Do it.
Favorite childhood movie?
Favorite childhood movie is Lion King. I grew up on the Lion King.
Fair enough.
Classic.
Fair enough.
Grew up on the Lion
King. What's yours? I'll do mine real quick.
Mine, the Toy Story.
Mine was probably Cool Runnings. I watched it so much.
Great movie.
Yeah, watched it every weekend. Couldn't stop renting it.
Feel the rhythm. Feel the ride.
Cool.
Get on down. It's
so good. Yeah. Mylon, thanks so much.
I always say Sanka. You dead, man?
I don't even remember it now. It's been so long, but it's funny, man. It's great. But anyway, cool, man. Well, you guys can check us out on Instagram at Guys Who Cry Official. Our website, guyswhocry.com. If you do guyswhocry.com/YouTube, you can get to our YouTube page.
Mylan, do you do like reels or anything to show off your acting range on your Instagram or anything?
Yeah.
How can we plug
people find it?
I am on my acting profile on Instagram is Milan Reid at Milan Reid. I also have some stuff on my personal, it was wildchild_of_God. I have a YouTube channel. If you just look up Milan Reid acting, Milan Reid acting, a bunch of my videos, even from when I first started doing monologues on YouTube,
we'll have that in the
we'll put it in the link in the description. Yep.
Yeah, and all of that stuff will be available.
Awesome,
guys.
Yeah.
I just want to say one thing. It's actually Milan.Reid for the
right. It'll pop up somewhere on the screen, just like Greg has been doing for our guests on YouTube.
Also follow us on Facebook at Guys Who Cry Podcast and TikTok, Guys Who Cry Official 2396. Leave us a comment, send us a message.
Yeah, we're always looking for more guests and for more experts on fields of stuff that we don't know about. So if you guys want to be on the show, please reach out.
Any interesting conversation is welcome. So guys, thanks for tuning in this week. Milan, thank you for joining us. Check us out next week and be entertained.